Hello everyone, this is Brian with Zimco Survival and I'm back again today. Today I'm doing a review for you guys, or not a review, but an update video on a surprisingly popular stove that I purchased and did a review on a little over a year ago now. And it has been my primary camping stove since I purchased it, so I've put a lot of use on it, and I wanted to go ahead and do an update for you guys so you guys will know how it's held up over time. And basically it is of the new Lixada stove. Now it's not exactly new anymore, like I said, it's a little over a year old, but it is their newest design. So it is, I guess you could say, it still falls into the new Lixada stove category, but like I said, it's been around now for a little over a year. But basically, I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. This is not a review, it's an update. If you guys want to see the review, you can go click on the link in the description and go take a look at the actual review itself. But this is just going to be an update, kind of letting you guys know how everything's gone, if my opinions have changed, etc, etc. So basically, when you open it up, you're going to kind of get this. This is what it's going to look like all collapsed down together. The major part of any stove, any kind of stove that will fail over time, is going to be your pot stand, which is what this piece is right here. Now, so far, the little wings here have loosened up a little bit, but I kind of figured that's normal for any kind of pot stand that uses this kind of a extension type system. But it hasn't actually loosened up to the point where I'm concerned. So it seems like it loosened up due to the heat, which is kind of expected, and then just kind of stopped. So it hasn't gotten any looser than it did originally. So it still works just fine, still no problems with it whatsoever. They still lock open really well, they don't give or anything like that, so that's always a benefit. The other benefit is there hasn't been any warping to the metal. That was a concern for me with any kind of stove, is that the metal itself is going to warp with quite a bit of heat that this stove puts out. And so far I haven't had any problems with warping or distorting the metal or anything like that. Now of course the metal is discolored, there's no way to fix that, but it is what it is when you're dealing with a gasification stove. Let me go ahead and pull out the other piece here that is of importance. This is the ring, the collar if you will, that the pot stand actually sits on, like this. And when it's on the stove, basically, it looks like that. Now, this is tack welded, which is my only other concern, was that it was tack welded on. And so far, and as people know, heat tends to weaken tack welds. Well, I have not had any problems with these tack welds coming apart. That does not mean it isn't possible, but so far it has held up very, very well for me. Now, if it does fall apart, and I did look at this just to find out if I could fix it myself somehow. If it does fall apart on you, there, you see that little rim right there, and how it goes all the way down? You got the edge right there, and then you got this nice little rim. You can drill some small holes and put some small bolts through there to hold it together if it does start to fall apart. But so far I haven't had any problems with that. It's held together very, very well. Like I said, you still get your discoloring and everything else, but so far it hasn't provided any issues for me. And like I said, I use this thing, this is my primary stove at this point. I will be doing an update on the older design, which I also used for about a year before I bought this one, so it's time for an update on that one too. But so far I haven't had any problems with anything inside of it. It still works just like the day I bought it. And there you have the combustion chamber. Now, for those of you guys who are saying, oh, it's really dirty, etc, etc. I don't clean my stoves. I don't see a point because I use them so often. So if I clean it, it's once in a blue moon. I clean them just to make sure they don't rust and everything else. If I know I'm going to be storing it for a long time, I'll clean it but I don't use oil because it is a stove and I don't want to, you know, light it on fire one day forgetting I put oil on it. So I tend to just wipe it off, let it dry, and that's the way it sits. Now I haven't cleaned it in a very long time, as you guys can probably see, but it's still holding up just fine. I haven't had any problems. But just to let you guys see how it puts together, you have your combustion chamber which slides down. You have the top portion of the combustion chamber, and this is also where the gasification happens. This is the ring that has the slits for the gas to come out of. This right here is your collar, and then of course your pot stand just snaps right on the top. So there you have it. And for those of you guys who are concerned about the pot stand not having enough retention, once it's snapped in, it's not coming out, so you don't have to worry about that. It does have a good positive retention when you put it on the top there. And then this is what it looks like when it's completely put together. It's not small. It weighs about, I think it's about a pound, a little over a pound. Can't remember the exact weight, but I carry this with me every time I go backpacking, along with my alcohol stove, because you never know. There are places where you can go camping and you show up, and especially if you've never been there, you show up and then all of a sudden they tell you, oh, you can't, you know, start a fire here, you have to use a controlled burn method, you know, etc., etc. And so I always make sure I have this with me, because 9 times out of 10, as long as the fire is contained in a container, they don't care. But sometimes they do, and in those cases I do bring, you know, I always have my alcohol stove with me and a little bit of alcohol, just because you never know what's going to happen when you show up to the campsite. But this is by far my favorite. I have not used the other one in quite some time, but like I said, I did use it for about a year, so I'll do a 1-year update on it. Even though I've had it for 2 years, I'll do a 1-year update because I did use it for a year, and I'll go ahead and let you guys know how that one held up. But there you have it, the new design Lixada stove 1-year update. As far as concerns go for something that may actually happen farther down the line, I don't really have much in the way of concerns, but my only issue with this is going to be with the pot stand, and that is, you see the rivets they use to do this. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but the rivets themselves, you can see the cracking there. That's my only concern, is that these rivets are going to fail eventually. So far they've held up fine, but when they put the rivets in, you can tell it happened when they put the rivets in. It did cause some cracking, so I'm concerned over time with continual use that the rivets will eventually fail, although so far they haven't, so it may just be a concern that is unwarranted. But that is my only concern about this stove, as far as, you know, how it works over time. Now if this collar ever does come off, like I said, I'll just drill some small holes around the outside edge and put some small bolts into it. That'll hold it together just fine. So in my opinion, there's nothing on here that can break that can't be fixed. So if you are a handy kind of person where you kind of fix things yourself, everything on here that could fail is easily fixed. So that's one thing I like about it. So far nothing's failed. So far nothing shows any serious signs of failing. But if it does, I can easily repair it on my own. So that's something I'm not really too worried about. But overall, I'm going to say this is still an awesome stove. I still use it. It's still my primary stove. I absolutely love the design. I love how it works. I love how versatile it is. So in my opinion, it is worth every penny. It'll cost you about 30 bucks, but it is a good quality stove. So, you know, as far as $30 go, you will be hard pressed to find a stove like this anywhere in that price range. So I will have an affiliate link in the description so you guys can find it. It can be a little bit tricky to find on Amazon, but I will have an affiliate link so you guys can find it. I highly recommend you guys buy one. If you're like me, it'll become the only stove you carry around. You'll have this, and you'll have your alcohol stove tucked down inside of it, and you'll be very happy with what you purchase. So thank you guys for watching. That's my update. And as always, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Bye-bye.